In every church I've ever been asked to go to, I always knew that I would find somebody in that congregation who would likely criticize me for just about everything. That must be their role, and they thought it helpful whenever I did something they didn't like to make sure that I knew that I had messed up. Honestly, in some ways, that is helpful, when it was not just being hurtful. Likewise, within the hierarchy of the church, there are always those who define their job as management by intimidation. Whatever good you might think you were doing, their focus was always on the results that they desired and whether you have achieved those results. In every line of work, those who are all business have little time for niceties. Fortunately, I also know that within every congregation and within the fellowship of pastors, there will always be someone who by nature or by training knows how to offer encouragement as well. In life, it is a good thing to have that someone, a family member or a good friend perhaps, who can do that. Those people can be lifesavers when times get tough. The words found in Isaiah chapter 50 seem to be from such a tough time when things got difficult for prophets and for all of the people of God, really. It's one of those so-called servant songs. Taken together, the servant songs show a progression toward the final revelation of who the servant really is. In Song 1, the servant of God is spirit-filled. Here is my servant whom I uphold, my chosen one in whom I delight. I will put my spirit on him, and he will bring justice to the nations. In the second servant song, found in chapter 22, the servant lays claim to his call as a prophet of God. Before I was born, the Lord called me. From my mother's womb, he has spoken my name. Already, however, there is a note of despair in his words, mixed up with determination and hope. But I said, I have labored in vain. I have spent my strength for nothing at all. Yet what is due me is in the Lord's hand, and my reward is with God. In chapter 50, the servant's role seems to be to provide a word of encouragement and an example of obedience in the face of great opposition. The sovereign Lord has given me a well-instructed tongue, he says, to know the word that sustains the weary. We might do well to stop and focus our attention here for a little bit. What does it mean to have a well-instructed tongue? And what is the word that sustains the weary? With regard to the first, it certainly must begin with what he also expressed in verse 5. The sovereign Lord has opened my ears. You cannot say something you do not know, and you cannot know what you are unwilling to hear. In this case, we are talking about listening to God, but that is also true in this world too. Listening with your mind and heart to God necessarily precedes and informs the well-instructed tongue, but it is probably also necessary to listen with your mind and heart to the voice of others as well. Those who are really good at encouraging others have a special knack for doing both. They have a way of hearing what others are saying, understanding what they are feeling, and then saying just the right thing, which will provide the encouragement that someone may need to keep on going. Thank God for such people. I hope that you have a friend like that. I hope that you know someone who will commiserate with you and when you are down, and then say, this is tough, but you're definitely tougher, or things will get better, hang in there, or I am here for you, no matter what. It is also good, however, to know at least a few of those kinds of words that can sustain the weary that are found in the Bible. Words from the Psalms, for instance, like, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Or Joshua's words, spoken before going into battle. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. The Apostle Paul also saw the value of encouraging one another, and in the book of Romans, he told them I long to see you so that I may impart to you some spiritual gift to make you strong. That is, that you and I may be mutually encouraged by each other's faith. I think that pretty much sums up a very large part of the mission of the church. There is, however, another reality which is also part of the servant song in Isaiah 50. I offered my back to those who beat me, my cheeks to those who pulled out my beard. I did not hide my face from mocking and spitting. Because the sovereign Lord helps me, I will not be disgraced. I don't especially like that part, so please don't try pulling out my beard. However, it is true that sometimes we will pay a price for speaking the truth, even in love. Sometimes the words we must speak in love are words that might help someone to find their way when they are lost, or perhaps they are words of faith to the faithless. That also requires a well-instructed tongue. Listen before you speak to both God and the one you are talking to, and then let your words be always intended to help and heal. As someone else has noted, it is ironic that the word meant to encourage others, when shared, can be painful and dangerous for the messenger. After all, there is no guarantee that whatever we may say, it is going to be received in the way that we meant it. So, yeah, hang in there. Be strong and courageous. This is tough, but you are definitely tougher. And yeah, I'm here for you, no matter what. So if love requires it, speak the truth with a well-instructed tongue, and let the chips fall where they may. The early church faced a lot of religious persecution, but they had a story to tell to the nations, and they did not back down from doing so. Nor did they stop sharing their food with the needy or caring for the sick. They endured the hardships that came with that for the sake of their faith, and for the sake of that word that sustained them. And the last of the servant songs in Isaiah 53, we finally do learn who this servant really is. He was despised and rejected by mankind, a man of suffering and familiar with pain. He took up our pain and bore our suffering, yet we considered him punished by God. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his wounds we are healed. There you have it. The final word that sustains the weary is Jesus. He is, after all, the Word of God incarnate. And he is the one who, in every time of turmoil or struggle in our life, is always there to say to us, do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God. Believe also in me. Be safe, and God bless you.